Good afternoon. I was thinking this morning that what happens if when the energy in the atmosphere becomes too hot and we built our house and we are gonna like get so warm we're gonna die of dehydration because most animals when it like comes when the heat comes animals migrate towards a cooler part and we put our houses up in one space and what happens when it gets too hot because of the sun or whatever and we're fucked. Like we can't just rely on air conditioning, you know what I mean? So what do you reckon happens when we I've been here saying about 20 years time and the kind of average temperature is say 25, 30 degrees and we just can't cope anymore.
That was a hell of an intro. I don't know. My plan in life is to live in a van anyway, so I'll be all right. I'll be like one of them migrating humans. I just go wherever the good vibes are.
So no, that's true. Like that is my dream. My dream is to have a podcast van and I just travel the country in my van and I just find people to podcast with. So I've got my bed, I've got my podcast bit in the back, which is basically another bed for me to lie on because I don't sit up. Yeah. And then you can have a little bed facing me, so it'll be like you on like a sunbed, me on a sunbed, a mic in the middle, and we'll just be looking at each other. We can give like a foot massage. We can do some like sit ups, like in the gym, and we will be able to podcast and then yeah to travel the country podcasting. I mean it's a great idea. I mean trying to afford a house these days is a joke. And we need to be free, as I've just said. When temperature changes we're supposed to migrate to a cooler part and we've put houses up. So now what do? You've got a £300,000 house just sitting there. When it gets too hot, what you gonna do? You can't just sell up and migrate like an animal, and you also can't just rely on aircon companies or aircon, just like you can't rely on energy coming from energy companies, because what happens when they can't provide enough energy? When it gets too cold, for example, it's getting too cold and too hot, and we're stuck here. And also in England, right? Boris has said apparently that he's going to ban the sale of logs, which means that unless you know a farmer chopping down trees, you can't even provide yourself with heat from a log.
is
So,
that
what's your thoughts on that?
is that man actually banning the sale of logs?
Yeah. That's what I heard because of
What?
like climate change and that nonsense.
What
So, I mean,
baffles me is a few years ago there was a video of him ranting and raving about rubbing the roof of the Olympic Stadium with rhubarb to create jobs for English farmers, and now the man's running the country. It's it's a whole shit show we're in.
anyway, so let's talk about yeah. So serious question. What happens when it gets too hot and too cold, and humans have just like plonked their house up? What happens? Like, are we forced to move out, or do we just stay here and like just live off aircon and heating until we die or something until it doesn't work?
I'd say it probably depends on the human that you're asking, because like me or you, it's easy to just pack up and go live in a van and go where the good vibes are. But most other people probably just wouldn't ever leave their house. They'd rather like just stay uncomfortable in their house rather than move and like start a new life.
Go
So
where the good vibes are. That's hilarious. That's like saying if all of the vegan cat movement are going up north. It's like if the good vibes are up north, when I get my vibe meter out, then I sort of get my compass and my EDF, my EMF measurement to see where the positive frequencies are. Bloop, 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 bloop. Oh, they're in Wales. You got to go, vibe. Come on, vibe tribe. We have to go to Wales because the good vibes are there. It's like, dude, how do you
mate,
know?
I'd be
Oh,
down.
my antenna has picked up a positive vibe over there.
It's more just the fact. Okay, it's not really going where they are, but it's not staying where the bad vibes are. So it's like if at any point if I'm there and like shit's just gone off and I'm just like, nah, I don't like it here. I'll just go till I find somewhere better.
No, it's true. We are designed to be free and to move when, as I said, temperature changes, energies change, lifestyle, culture changes, but instead we're just stuck in the same place. And when something fucks up, for example, when there's bad energy for whatever reason, like the government stops funding it, or there's just a lot of disease around, or just bad people robbing places and burgling places, these people are stuck there. And they just put up with all that shit. And if you understand the universe, when shit goes bad, people, animals migrate. If there's like a load of zebra right? And there's a wolf. They don't stand there and hopefully the wolf doesn't come back. No, the wolf's going to come back. All those zebras fuck off, don't they? And yet
Yeah.
humans are like, oh no, we've got the police. We'll just call the police and they'll help us. They'll no, they can help you. But how about the burglar who's watching that police until they go? Then they burgle. That's like the lion waiting for the zebras to go to sleep. So no, you have to let the zebras migrate, and then hopefully there's no lions there for a bit. And I do feel that so much land now is being changed from green belt to brown belt so they can build because of the demand for housing.
Mm.
And again, you can't just put up houses when houses sort
Oh,
of
I lost connection a bit there, bro.
lost
Yeah,
connection.
we're back.
Okay, go on. Okay. Um, I feel that people putting up houses just wherever there's land to meet the demands of housing is stupid because there's a reason why there's no houses built there because the land isn't sufficient for like flooding and weather. If you have an open space, you've got like more likely to there to be storms because of the the temperature,
Mm.
and you can't just plonk up houses everywhere. It's yeah, it's just problem creating problems after problems. It's like building houses on a place that has sinkholes. You just you're just creating problems unnecessarily.
Yeah, I mean the demand for housing in the UK especially is ridiculous. It's like the worst in the country. There's like I think they say if they build 250,000 houses a year for the next 20 years, there still wouldn't be enough. So it's just a bit mad, really.
That's the thing. People need to be independent and not dependent. You can be dependent when you are independent. So when you have your little vegetable patch in the garden, growing your carrots and broccoli and whatever the fuck you want to grow, then you can go to Tesco's and get a carrot. But you can't rely on Tesco's to supply your carrots because
Yeah.
what happens when Tesco's can't get the carrots to you or the farmer's crops die for whatever reason? Oh, I can't have a spag bowl of carrot anymore. Well, you could
What
have
the
grown
fuck?
that in your garden for like 20p. You could have got a seed and grown a whole fucking load of carrots at 20p, and you wouldn't have eaten all of them. That they would have died literally, right? From 20p worth of a seed, or go in the farmer's field, nick his carrot, nick a seed, and grow it yourself. People need to be independent, and I think what's
Mm.
going on is now is going to show people that you're on this planet yourself. No fucking government, no family member is you at the moment. You're on your own, and that's how it's always been. That's how it will always be. Independent survival, and once you have enough, then you can share. That's just how it works. When an animal eats a carcass, when he's had his meal, come along, John and Barry, come on, tuck in. The minute that tiger or whatever starts to eat and he's not eating for days, another smaller tiger comes along. Fuck off! I'm the bigger lion here. Wait your turn. It's just how it works.
I mean, to be fair, given everything that's happening at the moment, I think people are now being forced to be more independent. Because I'm all right. Like I'm still doing my shopping at supermarkets and that, but like I see the need for being able to sustain yourself. Like if it comes to it, I know I'll be able to build a house and grow my veg and all that sort of stuff. So I know that I'll be all right. At the moment, I'm just relishing in the fact that I ain't got to.
It is funny because we joke about this. It's almost like a film where you see these people like preparing for the apocalypse and they start storing
Oh,
like 20,
100%.
25 years worth of tuna that lasts for 25 years underground. But this is a real thing. Like, this is a reality that this can happen at any single point. Like,
Yeah.
it literally is a reality. And it's not stupid that I think like this because I've always thought like this. Like, as soon as I have my own house and land, I'm going to have, supplies underground, for example, because of this stuff is likely to happen and you don't know when it's going to happen. And yeah, you probably won't ever need to use it because the likelihood of a supermarket going bust is just not really realistic, but it's still a possibility. Even
Yeah.
if you don't get toilet roll for a week, at least you've got like, some underground waiting, or just have a shower and clean your ass like Jesus did in the river. He took a shit, he dipped his ass in the stream, and he washed his ass, and also a fish bit his ass, but he got a clean ass, which is the story of the Jesus and the stream, which I just made up right now.
Oh, fucking hell. To be fair, while I was up in Lincoln, I was living with three three or four people who were originally from India. So when all this started happening and everyone was like pinching loo roll, they were all just like, "Why don't you just do it the normal way and just wash your ass?" And I was like, "Yeah, fair enough."
It's true. Like when I was younger, I had an Indian guy next door to me. I grew up with him from when I was like, say, I don't know, 4 till 13, right? And when I used to take a shit in his toilet, there used to be a little milk carton of water, and I used to take the piss out of him. I used to be like, who the fuck cleans their ass with water? Now I've learnt about there's so many different cultures and ways of life, and there's no right or wrong. I
Yeah.
don't use toilet paper anymore. I just go straight in the shower and clean my ass. Not only do I save toilet paper, but I don't have this itchy ass anymore. When I was younger, I used to go to school, right, scratching my ass all fucking day. And what happens is the more you scratch it, the more irritated you make your ass become because all the acid in your shit is end up and the heat from the boxes and the pants classroom and sitting in assembly all day is making my ass terribly itchy. And I used to be scratching my ass all the time. My box used to have skid marks on it, right? So I realised not only did I not wipe my ass properly, you can wipe your ass 1,000 times and there's still going to be some shit there which can make your ass itchy when you're in a heat situation. So to solve this issue, and I've never had an itchy ass problem since, it's like I go straight in that shower and I only take a shit if I can have a shower afterwards. And if I don't, for example, I notice. So now I look at my Indian friend and I'm like, Jesus, man, you're a god. You're a genius. I was a fucking idiot saying you're an idiot with a fucking little milk carton, and there's me with an itchy ass for 10 years, and you with a clean ass and not a scratch in sight. So I apologize. So yeah, I look at them, as you said, I didn't know it's an Indian culture thing, but when you think about a bido or a bido in like
Yeah,
Greece and
yeah,
Spain and stuff like that, every hotel I ever went to had a bidet. And again, you take the piss out of these Spanish people with the bidet, but again, they are smarter than the English people. I mean,
yeah.
I don't have an itchy ass anymore. What's your thoughts on that?
I I mean, I still do use toilet paper, but after that whole thing, I might actually start giving it a go.
Think about it, how much money you'd save
Yeah,
if you think out how much money you spend on toilet paper, right? Let's say you shit 3 times a day, you
Jesus.
wipe well, I shit 3 times a day. I got a good diet. Let's just say you wipe, say, when it's mucky, say like 8 times, yeah? That's essentially a quarter of a toilet roll. So each day you use a quarter times three. Let's just say in 2 days you use a whole toilet roll. In a week, that adds up to say 2, 3 quid. Now, if you go in the shower, which you're going to do anyway, you save yourself 3 quid a week. So that's a McDonald's, that's a kebab, that is a pack of cigarettes if you smoke. That's a Jaeger bomb.
That is, I don't
Right,
know where
beer.
you're smoking or drinking, mate, but that is not not the price of a pack of cigarettes or a Jaeger bomb.
I don't drink or smoke, so I have
Not
no idea how
either.
much it costs.
Oh, last I checked, it was like 7 quid for a pack of fags.
Oh my God, yeah. So when I was younger, it was like 3 quid. When I was younger, I used to buy cigarettes, right? Before I used to go clubbing, and I used to sell each cigarette for £1. So I used to go and buy a pack of cigarettes for like £4, whatever, and I used to sell them all for £1 because you're at the smoking area, and everyone's like, "You got a fag, mate?" I'm like, "I do, but it's £1." Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, come on, bro, just give me one. No, it's £1. Fuck off or buy it. And they used to buy it.
yeah.
So yeah, you spent 20 quid for selling a pack of cigarettes. Genius, I am.
I used to
But
do
that
that
was
at
a good day.
school with Becky and Rollies.
Yeah, I used to get Starburst and Starburst and like Tesco's were selling them like
Yeah,
for £1,
yeah.
£4 for. And I could get a packet, sell them each for £1 and make 2 quid.
Mate, I used to make like 50 quid a day doing that the whole 5 years I was at school. I was like literally, I made more money at school than I did like the 2 years after. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
and the teacher found out I was doing it, and they stopped me from doing it.
Some of most of the teachers who found out I did it used to buy Kit Kats and that off me. They'd find out I'm doing it, and they'd be like, "What are you selling anyway?" I'd be like, "Toffee crisp, Mars bars, Kit Kats." They're like, "Oh, Kit Kat." I'd be like, "Yeah, 50p, mate."
Think about it, right? Think about to make a pound profit on something, right? In terms of doubling your profits is pretty uncommon, right? But think about this: you could sell a Mars bar for £1 and buy it when it's half price and make a pound profit. Now, making a pound profit seems nothing, but when you think about when suppliers buy stuff and they've got to pay their rent and their bills and their mortgage and their staff, they end up making like say, I don't know, 25% profit or whatever. But you can make a pound profit. That's 100%. That doesn't happen, does it? Obviously, it is circumstantial because you're not supposed to resell stuff like that and sell it in a school where there's so many people there desperate for sugar and shit. So, you know, The real world, you can't just go into a town centre and be like, "I'll give you this for a pound." They'd be like, "Bro, there's a pound shop there. I can get it for a pound." Like, what the fuck would I give you? You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a little entrepreneur growing up. That was amazing. I remember one guy. I sold him a pack of Starburst for. I think he bought the whole lot for like £3, and I only paid a pound for it. I mean, you could have been laughing if you kept it up, but obviously they caught on and they
Yeah,
almost told me off. It's crazy.
my mum it used to crack me up because my mum used to go to Macro, which used to sell stuff in like bulk. So I'd just be like, "Oh, could you lend me 20 quid, buy me all this stuff, and I'll give it back to you in 2 days?" And she'd be like, "All right." And then I'd come over the next day with like 100 quid, just give her her money back. Be like, "Could you come again next week?"
That's the thing, right? This entrepreneurial mindset can't either have it or you don't. You either see it or you feel it. You see like, why the fuck would I pay that when I can get that? Or you see your friends gonna give you a pound for that Mars bar. And then you say, bruv, if I bring you Mars bar every day, will you give me a pound? Yeah. And then you go to Tesco's and you buy like a pack of, as you say, go to Macro or Costco and you buy, say, 7 for whatever. That's a natural mindset. That's why you're doing your thing now. People either have that ability to see trends and see patterns and execute, or they don't. I
I
mean,
mean,
that's why you can't, it's in you, an entrepreneur.
I think it can be once you start to like understand it and see it at a deeper level. It's something that is in everyone, but a lot of people don't just because what I believe is being an entrepreneur is all based on giving value to people. Because if you're not offering anything valuable, there's no point. So everyone's got that. Everyone wants to make people's lives better, but some people don't relate that to like money. Some people are just like a nice people, but a nice person is the same thing. They just go around and everyone they meet, they try to make their lives a little bit better. I do the same, but I just do it more impactfully and I charge for it. So everyone's got
So,
it, but
what do you reckon that reason is? Is it society? Is it the fact that when you follow a boss, you're not leading yourself, so your brain starts to die? Is it pressure? Is it well, like, what is the reason? Is it energy, for example? So if you're around negative people rather than positive people, you have to go to that energy pattern and it takes time to get there. You need someone to pull you there. If you've got no one around you here, you might know that exists, but you can't get there because you'll be sucked in. So is
yeah.
it energy?
I mean, everything's energy, but in terms of the reason some people make something of it and some people don't is because lots of people aren't confident that what they know people is valuable to people because like the shit you've been through, the shit you know, the struggles you've had, the things you've overcome, there's thousands of people out there who are struggling with the same stuff. So like what you know can help loads of people, but it's whether you believe that or not. Because if you don't believe that, you're never gonna actually do it.
See, this is the thing, right? If you help 5 people locally, that makes you feel good and it makes them feel good, which makes you feel good. People try and change the whole world, and if they can't like change the whole world, like 8 billion people, like then there's no point. And it's like, well, helping 5 people is the same feeling as helping a million.
Mm.
It's just a feeling of I have served. Um, so whether you do a million in one day or 5 in one day, the next day that feeling will be gone. But that 5 or a million is technically the same. It's like you've done
Yeah,
something
yeah.
good. So people need to focus on just like helping their neighbor cut the grass. Like
Mm.
if you like see a neighbor taking out shopping from the car, go and help them. It's not about my neighbor's a prick or he wouldn't do it to me. No, you're doing it to help yourself. You are serving for you. You're helping them, but then in return you are getting a feeling of gratitude out of it. So it's
Yeah,
not about the other person, it's about you and understanding how it works.
I mean, contribute. There's six basic human needs, and contribution's one of them. So, like, because you could be the nicest person, you can like be real successful and everything, but if you don't ever give back, you don't ever help others, then there'll always be a little part of you missing. But that's the one people overlook all the time. People always say it's like, oh, I'll help others when I've helped myself. It's like, no, you can help yourself by helping others.
Exactly, because you feel that need of this positive frequency, this feeling of feeling good, which is just going up in energy. You fulfill that need when you put out there, because now that gratitude, oh thank you, oh thank you, oh thank you, that's so kind, thank you, thank you. That's like positive, 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 and that
Yeah,
charges you, and then you can project that out even more.
and
And
it comes back even more.
people wait to receive, and Unfortunately, that's why nothing gets done, because they're waiting for the other person to do
Yeah,
it. And it's like, no, you have to start the chain yourself, especially if you have the wisdom. The person who has the wisdom knows this. Isn't it amazing how you, me, can go into a group of thousands of people, unhappy, negative pricks, and start serving and giving, and then they all start to follow you and they start to serve and give others. One
yeah,
person created that, whereas if you weren't there, nobody would be doing that. They'll be taking and like punishing and grabbing and fuck you, get your own. But one person can literally flip that and make everyone serve. So that's the power of one positive person amongst negative people. Isn't that amazing?
yeah. I mean, that's the thing as well. If you look at it from a point of view of rather than just helping people, you're helping people help other people, then that 5 people that you helped that you mentioned earlier, say all 5 of them help 5 people, so on and so forth, within a year you have helped 1 million people, but just from that 5 people. So like it literally is the same.
I call that the what's it called? What's it called? Vicious cycle in reverse. No, what's it called? Vicious. What's that thing called where you do something? It's a vicious circle in reverse. So it's
Yeah,
like coronavirus. You cough on one person, it spreads and it keeps going. And before you know, the whole
yeah,
fucking country's got it. But it's the same as positive energy. If you
yeah,
give
yeah.
love and serve and give somebody 30 quid and say, give that person £1, and then they give that, it's the opposite. It spreads just like cancer does in the body, or coronavirus. It's just amazing. Apart from so much good comes from it.
See, it's weird you say that because I like how cancer spreads is how I use it as an analogy all the time for negativity because
Yeah,
literally it all
same.
starts with one bad cell, which then
Yeah,
gets the ones around it and the ones around it. So
yeah.
like that's how energy works. That's how and even I even go as far to say this is something I believe that a lot of people never really agree with, that just even the cause of things like cancer and stuff like that starts with the one bad thought, which then spreads to the other thoughts and the other thoughts and the actions and the feelings and all of that. And once all that's done, then your body just turns on itself, starts it physically. Because it all comes from spiritually to mentally to physically. So, like, whenever there's a problem in the body, it's because there's a problem in the mind, and usually because there's a problem with the spirit. But
Uh,
that's one of my.
there's a crackling. Is that you or is it me?
I don't know. Is it still there?
Yeah, when you move, it makes that noise.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
sit still.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the thing, right? Cancer is created by one negative thought. A whole forest and a jungle is created by one seed, right? One acorn, and a whole forest is created. So I know you know this, but let's talk about it, right?
Yeah,
So a negative thought is a negative frequency. Everything in nature say vibrates at 528 hertz, right? Whatever. Yeah. We are part of nature. Animals shouldn't vibrate at this frequency. We should also vibrate at this frequency. In nature, everything is supposed to reproduce and keep dividing, and just life, if it's called life, it just keeps
yeah,
growing. We are that same thing, right? So therefore, when we are in an office amongst negative people, or we're negatively thinking about stuff, we're watching the news or whatever, we're unhappy, we are in a negative vibration, and that negative thought is a frequency, and on the scale of vibrations it's classed as a negative vibration, like a,
yeah,
a lower hertz, for example. And cells under a microscope will start to grow and divide on a positive vibration, hence why certain high sounds can cure cancer, like monks, for example, like chanting. A negative vibration, like when you put a heavy metal music in water and then you freeze it, you get a crystal that's not crystallized, right?
yeah.
The rice situation, where you can be negative to rice and say, fuck you, I hope you die, you fucking cunt, in rice. And say, I love you, rice, you're amazing, the beautiful white rice, you're the greatest rice ever, great rice, fucking great rice, yeah. And you go back to that rice, and that rice is moldy, it's destroyed, it's ugly, the one that you said I hate you to. And then the other rice that you loved and gave praise to is nice and pure, right?
Yeah,
That's the same for our body. Our body's made up of 8% of water, and if that has the effect on water, then it has the effect on our body. Now, that negative frequency under a microscope is destroying cells, as you said. That one cell that goes bad doesn't divide and break down and fuck off. It just sits there and starts to rot. All the other cells around it, like if you put some meat on some, I don't know, nice meat, for example, it would start to rot. And then that will rot the other meat underneath. And then that will rot the counter, and that will rot the wood and rot the floor. And now you've got like a rotted, everything rotted from that one thing you put on
yeah,
top, right?
yeah.
And that's the same for our cells. It becomes cancerous and then tumor, meaning there's too much cancer there that it just what the fuck happens and it starts to swell and spread. It becomes a tumor, all because of one negative thought. Now, as you said, most people do not know this. They just don't. Obvious reasons why, because there'll be no money in pure healing of humans. But that's just the way it is. But yeah, one negative thought, just fucking dickhead. How just fucking dickhead throwing that litter on the floor. Don't call him a dickhead and get angry. Pick up that litter and understand that that's life and that's not going to change. People are going to do that. Counteract every negative situation to a positive. Otherwise, that negative thing you've seen will affect you unconsciously. And that is why all disease is man-made, because our body should be at ease, and a body at ease, finish it.
It's not disease.
A body at ease can't be at disease.
That's the one. I knew it something like that. I didn't really know the quote. But to be fair, going on from that, one of the we good? Oh yeah. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is that our bodies they can't tell the difference between negativity coming at us and negativity coming from us. So like, if say you're sat there and someone's shouting at you and hurling abuse at you and all this sort of stuff, you don't feel good. Like, you never feel good.
Hold your mic away from your top, because it keeps knocking as you move.
There we go.
Yeah.
That better? Yeah, so when someone sat there like hurling abuse at you and all that, like, it doesn't feel good. But what people don't realize is when it's the other way around and you're doing it to someone else, it still has that same effect on your body, but your ego's getting in the way and you can't feel it as much. So it's not just a case of not surrounding yourself with negative people, it's also the case of not being a negative person.
Absolutely. Like, if you are being negative, it means you're already negatively charged. Your thoughts are made up of negative thoughts and feelings, and that's what you're doing. You're releasing it. It's almost like you're sitting on a toilet taking a shit. It feels good when you release it. So if you're being negative to people, you are spreading cancer, literally spreading cancer. Because if you saw cells and water under negative vibration, you would see what's happening to the cells. The cells are being destroyed and they're eating each other. Now, water, the crystals are not turning symmetrical. They are like all deformed and fucked, right? And so therefore, if you are projecting that, your body is already in that state of disease, which is, as we said, if you looked at it under a microscope, you'd see your cells are becoming cancerous, or the start of a cancerous body. And if you are positive, then obviously it's the opposite effect. But when you're amongst negative people, even if you're not speaking to them, their vibration is having an effect on your body. If your body is water and vibration affects water, and you're made up of 80% water, then your cells are in that water and they're going to start to merge as one. And whatever the vibration of the water is going to be the same vibration as your cells. That is why it's crucial to get away from negative people. As soon as you become aware that you've walked into a negative space, you have this feeling. People sit there and they feel sick and they feel nervous. That's your body's way of saying, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. It's not nice. It doesn't feel good. People don't understand their bodies. They feel shit all the time because of what they eat, what they drink, and they don't have enough sleep. And they hit the wife and fucking, not getting any sex, and the toothpaste lid's off, and they fucking put the lid up. Put it down. I'm like, well, why can't you put it down? Because I'm a woman and I sit down. Well, how about look to see if it's up? I don't look and piss on the top because I don't see the lids down. I put it up. Why should you go into the toilet and sit down and think, fuck's sake, he's left it up again? It doesn't make sense. You don't not look before you wee. You don't think, oh, I pissed on the wall again. Damn it.
Fuck no. You got a lot of toilet related analogies. I like it.
It's this most natural thing, but the most undiscussed thing. Farting, fingering your bum, or having a wank. This is the most natural shit on the everyone does it behind closed doors. Animals do it. You see dogs sniffing each other's ass. Monkeys masturbate each other off to say hello. That's true. Okay. You look at cows sniffing other cows' ass, shitting on each other's head in a field. That's also true. Why don't we talk about it? Because we're scared of being judged. When everyone's doing it, everyone's wife is fingering his husband's ass, so and she's like, can you stick it in my ass? Everyone's doing it, but no one's talking about it. Anyway, as you were saying about the cancer shit.
Oh man, that feels like that conversation's just way in the past now. Have you ever heard of epigenetics?
This is what started it all. I watched an hour of Bruce Lipstein talk about how Genetics are controlled by thoughts and environment, and they are not hereditary. And the reason why they may be seen as hereditary is because the frequency your mother and your father in when they have sex, and the vibration your mother is in when you're in her stomach, and how she feels when she's pregnant with
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you are by default that vibration. Hence
Hmm.
why a lot of people, for example, have the same disease as their parents, for example. Let's just say heart disease, cancer, stroke. They wear glasses, they have allergies to food, because essentially you are a clone of your parent. Whatever problems they had, you're going to get. If they are happy, positive, lovely people, good immune, you're also going to be the same. And what happens is that people follow the same patterns as their parents. They live in the same place, they watch the same TV, eat the same food, have the same thoughts, they hate the same neighbors. And that vibration is now that child, for example. And so that's why you could see that genes are hereditary, because you look at the parent and you think, wow, she was this and now this person's this. But it's all to do with the thoughts that they've had and the
Hmm.
environment that they are being in. And genes have been proven to change when the thoughts change and the environment changes. And the genes need a protein, which is the brain of the cell, right? So you're thinking, okay, well, the human is the brain of the cell, right? But then no, hang on a sec, I've got that wrong. They took out the protein of the gene, right? Thinking, okay, if you take out the brain of the gene, it's going to die. But the gene stayed the same,
Oh, yeah,
which
yeah.
means that it's not the protein in that gene that's keeping it alive. It's us. It's our brain that's keeping it
Yeah,
alive.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then they realized that simply what we think and the environment we are in, our brain, it changes that gene, because it's not the protein, which is supposed to be the brain of the gene, that keeps it alive. Essentially, the gene is still there when we take the protein out, which means we are in control of the gene,
Yeah.
which means we can change genes and turn them off and turn them on, which means it's not hereditary. And it's not that the doctors are purposely doing this because they're making money out of it. Yes, I'm sure that some people are well aware, medicine companies, that it's just about money and you can cure with whatever. But it's just what they've always taught. They learned from university 50 years ago, and they learned from their professor, and it takes 50 years before new information goes out there. And in 50 years' time, I'm sure they'll be all talking about this, how, you know, everything is in the mind, but it just takes time. It's not that they're trying to keep this from us, because I just don't believe that is the way it is, like Illuminati conspiracies and stuff. That's not the way it is. It's just outdated information, and that's
I
basically
I mean, I believe that certain people are probably trying to keep it, but I believe the majority are just ignorant to it. And like you say, with someone like Dr. Bruce Lipton, like he's probably not the best example, but for years he was probably like laughed at and stuff. And scientists who come out with this sort of stuff, they usually like they don't get taken seriously until until it's too late usually, but they don't get taken seriously. So the reason no other scientists are on board with it is because they witness that. They witness all the other like world-renowned scientists like just laughing and being like, "You're mental. It's not mindset. It's all physical." Like like with all of them, Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, everyone, they come out with this crazy fucking theory that ends up being true. But for years and years and years, like Nikola Tesla, he died penniless, but he was way ahead of the game. Like they all, only the scientists who are okay with being ridiculed because they know they're right will actually do it. But then eventually, once it's proven, then all the other like sheep scientists will just be like, "Oh yeah, fair enough. I always thought he might have been right." It's like, no, you didn't. But
yeah,
it's so
absolutely.
so I reckon it's more ignorance, but I do reckon there are some like powers that don't want this information known.
Oh yeah, for example, let's just say there's like, I don't know, 400 pharmaceutical companies. A good percentage of them, okay, will know that this is just for their profits, and it just keeps them on the addiction. It doesn't
Mm.
really cure anything. But he's got business. He's a businessman, right? And then there's some like Bill Gates, who may not know all this shit, who genuinely puts money out there to like flu vaccines because he wants to change.
Yeah,
And so it is 50-50. In fact, it's probably like 70% are doing it for the good reasons, and like all these cure for cancer shit. They believe that we're going to find a cure one day, and we probably will, in terms of the biology way, in terms of the lab and shit. And they
mm.
don't understand that you can cure cancer by understanding why the disease occurs in the first place. Like 70% don't know this and want to do good, and the other 30%, they probably know this. In fact, it's probably less than that. It's like 15 or something.
Yeah,
And
it's not
it's just
much.
about
It's just
money.
they're powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. People are trying to do more good than bad. It's just like anything, it takes a while for stuff to come out there, which changes industry and capitalism and politics and all that nonsense. You know what I mean? That's the thing. I will say, if this rich person who who knows all this, he. Oh, I'm losing my train of thought. Go on, you talk.
I was interested in what you had to say then. I just reckon it's like the sort of tribe I'm with, the people I hang around with, they sort of, we call it all this sort of knowledge, we call it like woo woo stuff, like all the spirituality, law of attraction, energy, all that stuff. It's like it's woo woo stuff because I have 100% belief in it. Like until something else comes along that I believe more, this is what I believe. But you walk down the middle of your high street shouting it into the town, and everyone will think you're mental. So it's like, even with like things like law of attraction and stuff, I've purposely learned the science behind it all. So then when I talk to them
Right.
people, I can actually explain it to them in science. So
Yeah.
like I know it's all true because one, I believe it. Two, I know the science. But it's still, even if you come out with
Hang
pure
on.
scientific facts, people are still like, "Nah, you crazy religious bastards." I'm like,
I'm like,
but
first of all, spirituality is not a religion, it is
yeah.
spirit, and the spirit is energy, which means it's science, which means I'm more Scientology than I am fucking Jesus. So,
Oh,
but yeah, it's true. I wanted to understand how is it that when I think of my friend, he calls me, and I had to
yeah,
understand the science, which is as soon as you think about it, a frequency goes out into the universe. If they trust their gut, they will call right away.
yeah,
If they don't trust their gut, then it's delayed, and then you call them, and then you never know who was going to call each other first. So yeah, again, the science all comes down to the double slit experiment when you observe something and it changes the reality. That's what
yeah,
I realized. It comes down to quantum physics. The law of
yeah.
attraction is explained with quantum physics, which is explained with the double slit. Like in terms of ghosts, a
Oh,
ghost always knocks when you're not looking at it, and he's saying, "Ghost, if you're here, please make a sign." It doesn't do anything until you look away. Well, did you hear that? It's just the way it is. It's the same as love. Like when you stop looking for love, it's there. When you stop looking for a job, it's there. It is all to do with when you know it's going to come. Everything is on a particle level. It's just coming bang, bang, bang. When you focus on it, it collapses that particle to a wave, and it can't come back as a wave. So when you just trust that it's coming, that's why it comes. And when you keep focusing on it and checking everything, you're collapsing it. It's like every
yeah.
time you check, that ghost isn't going to knock. So just don't look at the ghost, ignore him, and he'll want attention, like a fucking child. In the naughty corner is going to be like no, 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 throwing stuff, throwing cars. Just don't give him a reaction, okay? He wants a reaction. You go to McDonald's, right? You look at those kids, right, with their mums. Okay, that child is in that pram, desperate for attention. Okay, he's throwing chips, throwing the pram. The mum's going, naughty John, naughty Tyler, right? Or Dave, or whatever shitty name is, right? Naughty Kyle, stop that. And then the kid just keeps throwing it out, right? Kid keeps throwing it out. So he keeps reacting every time the mum observes the kid, right? If the mum just ignores that child throwing chips at other kids or whatever, right, the child will make a mess for the first 5 minutes. But when the child knows that his mother doesn't give a shit, he's just he's just going to not bother. So therefore, the outcome of what you wanted, which is a good child sitting there eating his chicken McNugget, right? He's going to be sitting there like a good boy because he's only been a bad boy because you keep telling off the child, you know? So again, just it's like a monkey. He's always going to nick your bottle of water in Singapore when you're not looking at it. Think about it. That monkey is waiting for you to turn your head to grab your burger, to grab your sandwich, to grab that water. And if you're looking at it, he won't. So what does it say about the universe? Everything happens when you're not looking at it. Okay. Icebergs melt, right? When we're looking at it, right? So you call it global warming, but then when we're not looking at it, well, how the fuck do we know? So is it the fact that we're looking at the icebergs that they're melting, right? In terms of vibration? No, seriously, when you observe
uh,
something, energy vibration, water is changed by thought and vibration. Water is ice. Icebergs start melting the minute we look at it. Like if you chant at the Japanese river, okay, they prayed to the Japanese river that's polluted, and then they turned it pure crystallized water. If we are focusing on the icebergs melting, yeah, it is man-made. We are creating those icebergs to melt, but it's not the fact that I'm having a log fire in Great Britain, right? That's doing it. We're not getting onto global warming. I just worked that out as I was speaking about it. That when you focus on it, you change the environment. So maybe we are making the icebergs melt. The fact that we are observing it, I just worked that out right now, but not in the terms of, the typical way. But anyway, what's your thoughts?
That was a hell of a roller coaster. I was wondering where you were getting at with the kid in McDonald's story, but I do agree. It's more the so I read it in a book which is actually right here, Synchro Destiny by Deepak Chopra, and he like goes through and he like talks about it in the quantum way. And the way it got explained to me from that book and the way I like it is that, like how you said with the double slit experiment, every single thing in existence is at present a wave of possibility. So every single possibility that could ever occur is happening at the same time. But when we decide to focus on something, we focus only on one of them possibilities, and then everything collapses down into that one possibility. So say you're going for a job interview, like every single possibility, it could go well, it could go shit, a dinosaur could run through the room, this, that, and the other. Like literally every single possibility could happen, but based on our beliefs and our thoughts and our feelings and stuff, we pick one belief. So whenever I go anywhere, I intend for it to have the best possible outcome, like the outcome I want. But because I'm consciously doing that, it usually is. But if you're not consciously thinking about any of it, you leave it up to your subconscious. And because you've had so much past conditioning and all like self-doubt and all that sort of stuff, your subconscious will never choose that best outcome for you. Your subconscious will choose the one it thinks is most likely going to happen. So when you're going for a job interview, you'll be like, I'm just going to let whatever happens. In the back of your mind, it's just like, it's going to go fucking shit. You're not going to get the job. He's going to hate you. You're going to feel well uncomfortable like that. So you go in there thinking like, yeah, I'm ready. And then, but like that part of your mind that you don't even control, that like is 90% of what you think, has already chosen that this is just going to be bad for you. So it's basically a case of, in this wave of possibility, it's our duty to decide which possibility we're choosing, which like variation of this existence we're going to have.
Yeah, so I used to go to the casino when I was like, 20, 19 years old. And I used to always go there with the belief that I'd already won and I was going to walk back with this money and it was going to come in after 5 minutes. And it always did. The minute I started to tell my mum, she kept saying, oh, you're going to lose. That was so stupid. It's not going to happen. Every fucking time I used to lose. I fucking lost thousands of quid because of her negative mindset.
Yeah.
And I used to make thousands of pounds with my own belief. So it's amazing. Not only what she said had an effect in my mind, as if I'm hearing their voice saying, you're going to lose it. And I'm sitting there like, Mum's going to be right. Fucking hell. And I lose it. The fact that her energy is now focused on my energy collapses my wave, for example.
Yeah.
So I'm the particle. She's focusing on me. I'm now in a wave state, which means I can't penetrate through the dealer and the ball and all the energies in there to overpower everything because I'm not on that correct frequency. So yeah, it has a catastrophic effect when you hear negative things that aren't in alignment with your own beliefs. That's why they say, don't say about it until it's happened, because when you hear how people respond, it naturally affects you. When you naturally want your friends to appreciate you, understand, encourage you, but they don't, just by saying it and they go, oh, well done. You can tell by their body language, they're just saying it to make you happy. That has a negative effect. It's best to shut your mouth until it happens.
Yeah.
And then they can't dispute it. Tell them how you did it rather than say how you're going to do it. You need to say, oh, fuck's sake. Rather than saying how, you say after the fact how. It's the same thing. It's just, oh, I'm going to do this. I did this. It's the same fucking thing. Because if you're going to do it and it happens, it's the same thing. But I'm going to do, I did.
Yeah.
So you shift into like the now rather than the future. And I spent my whole life always saying what I was going to do to get the reaction first and then doing it, to the point where I spent my whole life getting the reaction, not doing anything, until I shut my mouth and started to do it. And then it all went into place. Last night I was on a walk and I need money basically because I can't do my stuff now because of the coronavirus shit. So the only way to make money is online. And I'm thinking, okay, you got drop shipping, live speaking events, adverts for sponsorships, YouTube and stuff. And I'm narrowing myself on, okay, well, I can't do YouTube because I've not got 1,000 subscribers. So how the fuck? And you get nervous and you think, and you get negative. As I had a little half an hour walk with myself, and I'm like, look, money is coming. It could be from any of these platforms, one of these platforms, or from none of these platforms. It could be another way.
Mm.
So, it could be a particle wave or both. It's any or it's anything because it's not just one or the other. It comes in the way that it just will come. So I said to myself, money's coming. Just let it go. You've placed an order with the Universal Amazon next day Prime delivery. You don't check Amazon and say if it's going to come because Amazon will deliver. And so
Yeah,
it's like, well, I need money, God. God's going to bring it to me, and it may not be the way I think, but it will come.
yeah,
For example, you put on a speaking event and you pay me 100 quid to talk. I don't know how it's going to come, but that's the type of shit that happens. Let it go. Money's going to come, and allow every possibility to make it happen. Don't focus on one, because when you focus on just one, again, you collapse that particle to a wave, and that's ruled out. And then now you're like, fuck, that's not working. I'm going to focus on this. So now you're focusing on two things, and you've collapsed that wave. So now none of those two will come to you. And it's crazy. You have to let everything go and trust that it's going to come. And God doesn't disappoint.
oh, aren't we? Yeah, no, I do agree. It's the I find I found that the hardest part of getting like my head around was the whole detaching from the outcome. Because if you're trying to manifest, say, money or a job or anything like that, obviously you want that like so badly. You like because you're consciously trying to manifest it, so you must want it so badly to then have to be okay with not having it is like for a lot of people is where they get stuck. Because if you're there, you'd be like, yeah, I will make £100,000 in a year. I will, and you like know that you will. To then be okay with not doing that and be completely detached from whether it happens or not for a lot of people is like conflicting in some ways. But I like what you said about not limiting yourself to one thing as well, because a lot of people will have a business and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to make £100,000 this year, and then all they'll be doing is working on their business. They'll focus so much on their business, they'll like ignore a phone call from a friend who hasn't seen them in years, and then little did they know if they went and met that friend, they'd get introduced to someone else who's an investor who would do that, and then it would cut. So it's not just about placing the order, it's about recognizing the deliverer. So like the person who
Yes.
comes with your package, if you're like if someone's knocking at the door with your package and you're like searching underneath the kitchen sink because that's where you think it's going to be, then you're never going to get your package.
So yeah, Amazon deliver your parcel, right? They subcontract drivers and they've all got different vans.
Yeah,
So every time a van comes past, it's your job to notice which van is for me and sort of flag him down and be like, it's over here in case you
yeah,
can't see your door number. If you are something in the universe and I get the urge to go to Tesco's, or which is a supermarket for my American
yeah.
listeners, hi. If I get the urge to
It's
go to
like
Tesco's,
Walmart.
yeah. If I get the urge to go to Walmart or McDonald's or walk my dog, I know that it's not necessarily because I need to get exercise or I need a cheeseburger. It's because somebody, in terms of on my frequency, is there. That's the meeting
Yeah,
point. And um, for example, I say, if you sell tuna because it's in demand and people start buying tuna, sell more. But as soon as that swamp dries up and there's a salmon and people want salmon, don't be ignorant and try and sell tuna. It's like people in Dragon's Den. I've been doing this for 6 years. It's my passion. I spent hundreds of thousands of pounds. I need you, Deborah Meaden, to help me invest. And they say, well, I'm not giving up. No, fucker. That tuna swamp has dried up. No one's buying tuna. There's no fish anymore, right? Go and sell fucking sea bass next door. What I was trying to say is that when you focus on like, I want to make money in doing this, or want to be an actor, you might have to be a singer or a presenter first, and then once you're in the industry, then you can act. Don't so focus on acting. When I, for example, want to make a business and I go into podcasting, it doesn't mean that this is going to be my main source of income. It could lead to something else. So when
yeah,
people have an idea, that's just the direction that they think they need to go in to get there. So you get dropped into a desert, north, south, east, and west. You need to be going, for example, north. You can't be going south or east. But as you go north, the difference between north and east is fucking like miles and miles. The gap is massive. It's not just like four corners, because between north and south, no, north and or south, north and east, it's like a 25% difference.
yeah,
So you need to be like have a general direction, but know that it's probably not going to be what you thought or where you were going to be. Like when I have an idea of something, I know that when I get there, it isn't often what I predicted. Like, for example, I get the idea of buying and selling furniture. Okay. And I get into the pattern of buying and selling furniture, doing leaflets. But then I realize from that I need to be doing something else, like landscape gardening, for example. So the fact that I got into the motion, I delivered leaflets, I saw the gardens, I'm like, no one's calling me, but there's lots of long grass right now because people haven't got the time. So now I start doing a lawn landscaping. So I've gone from furniture business to landscaping. But it's not, oh, I'm going to do furniture because that's what I said I was going to do. No, the aim is to make money. And when you have money, you invest in lots of stuff anyway. So you're
Yeah,
not going to invest in fucking furniture businesses. You'll do the stock, you'll do this and do that. So I know that when I think about something, I focus on it, but then I realize it wasn't exactly that. It's almost like my compass is always slightly off. It's always
yeah,
true north. I go north and I'm realizing actually true north is actually there. Um, Never be afraid to change your path slightly because that got you there in the first place. And people are
yeah,
they stick to the one thing that they have. Like my girl's gonna be black. She's gonna have big ass, big tits, big lips. It's like, well, I've got big ass, big tits, but I've not got big lips. Nah, fuck you. I'm waiting for this big black lady with a big ass and big lips. It's like, no, they don't exist, dickhead, because they've got lip filler. That is as good as it's gonna get. So you slightly go there, fuck off, don't stop your furniture idea and go towards a landscape. So that's called keep in motion, keep flowing.
See, that's like so I now know that I'm meant to become like a sort of coach, a live speaker, and all that sort of stuff. But for the past 4 years, I've been doing music. So like but I now know it's always funny looking back and connecting the dots because I was having so much fun in that, and I thought it was what I wanted to do. It is still something I will do, but like now looking back, I know that I'm now more comfortable on stage than I ever have been. I've made a twat of myself on stage more than I ever have done. So I now like there's no fear about getting up on stage and talking to people anymore, which is perfect if I'm becoming a speaker. Because a lot of people getting into becoming a speaker, that's the one thing they're scared of being on stage. They're scared of talking. They're scared of all the eyeballs. I fucking love it because of what I've done.
Hey.
So it's going back, connecting the dots, and realizing, like, yeah, I may have spent 4 years chasing a career that I'm not going to do anymore, but everything I learned from that career is perfectly tuned for my new career.
Absolutely. Like when you're a singer, you're not just playing guitar, you're speaking to the audience. So you're already doing it.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
difference is that when you publicly speak, you're speaking longer than singing. um, so yes, if you can handle the energy. When I was younger, I couldn't speak to like even two people. I used to crumble, the nervousness, the energy, the anxiety. I was unsure of myself. And then when I became unsure of myself, they looked at me and questioned me and sort of turned their nose up, like, what you on about? You're so weird. And that made me crumble even more.
yeah,
And I wouldn't finish my sentence because now they're so negatively charged looking at me like, what the fuck are you on about? I'm like, and I would melt. And then I'll go into my head and sort of in my head, I'll then fucking attack them like, you fucking cunt. You don't understand in my own head as if I was saying it to them to get that release. Wouldn't
yeah,
say it, but I'd say in my head what I would say to them if I had the balls to, or if I had the mouth to, because I couldn't speak, right?
yeah,
And then I realized if you are confident within yourself, people will naturally follow your lead. They won't
yeah,
be negative to someone who knows that they know their shit. If you question yourself, people will see weakness, right? And they'll attack. But if they look at you and you know where the fuck you're going, they won't say anything. They will feel stupid being negative towards you because they're only reflecting themselves, their own insecurities, their own lack of confidence. So
mm,
naturally, you start to dominate the room of people listening because you've overtaken their brains. You've like overpowered all their brains because you're the dominant energy. And now you kind of like hypnosis. You can now lead them. You can say anything and they'll follow you because you're the man who's in charge, who's got the most confidence. And the person who leads the pack is always the one with the most superior knowledge, most superior energy, and superior confidence.
mm.
So, yeah, it's true.
I mean, so because as I was saying what I said, and you were just saying that as well, I realized that like a difference between the singing and the speaking, and I guess with what used to happen when you couldn't talk, it's all about getting into flow. Like, do you know about flow state and everything? Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's like this now. Like I've before I plan to do podcasts, and like I know people that do them, and they've always got a long list of subjects and all questions and all these
I
sort of
just fucking
things.
turn on the mic and talk bollocks
It,
about my arsehole in the shower.
exactly, exactly. But how much more like natural is it? Like it's so much because that's what I was thinking because I've never actually done a podcast. I was covered on here, and I was like, usually when I'll do my videos and stuff, like I know what I'm going to talk about, but I don't write anything down, and I prefer it that way. I end up chatting shit for fucking like usually about 15-minute videos now. And I was just thinking, I was like, but can I do that for this long? And it's like, yeah, because it's just getting into that state of flow. But it's not even for just this, because talking about like being positive and not talking negative and stuff, like I don't believe you can be if you're in that sort of state of flow. So I think that's what it all comes down to, because I know people who are in flow every single moment of their lives. They just go. And it's like how we said earlier about when everything gets too hot and we got to leave our houses, it's hopping in a van and going. It's like that's how I know where the good vibes are, because it's just flow.
Exactly. Like, yeah, exactly. Like this is no different to meeting me down the pub on a Friday night and having a chat and recording. It's no different. So why would you need to write topics? You don't go to the fucking Weatherspoons pub on a Friday night before Lola Low or Cube Bar and be like, "Hey, buddy, come here." Right, first of all, I'm going to discuss about the football match last week, and then I'm going to discuss my girlfriend who split up with me. Long story, but I'll get to it. Then I'm going to discuss how we're going to go for a kebab afterwards, and how actually we need to have more burger sauce because I found that tomato sauce is a bit sweet, but the burger sauce is fine. You don't do that. You just fucking speak, and it flows. So why do
Yeah.
you need to script yourself again? Of again of this is going to happen, so you focus on it and it doesn't happen, then you get so nervous because you're looking at your topics, you're like, fuck, I've only got through 3, I've only got 5 minutes left, I need to get through 6, and you're not fucking listening or focusing anymore. You're just waiting for them to finish. Yeah, what do you think about burger sauce at the kebab van? I'm like, bruv, why the fuck could you talk about that? Oh, it's on the topic list. This state of flow. um when I said, honestly, the state of flow was the casino. When I used to go to the casino, I used to be in flow. I said no, I was going to make money, make it and go. As soon as my mum started saying you're going to lose, I started to lose because she ruined the state of flow. She focused on my energy, collapsed my wave, and I wasn't in flow. And the outcome was she was correct, because I didn't win. That's the power of negative people. Cancerous destruction changes the reality. Just think about how many people are negative and how many people say you can't do that. It changes the reality of that person.
I see a lot of times with the like there are some people that are just downright negative and they're just like, oh, you're gonna fail, you're shit, you're all this, that, and the other. But a lot of the people, usually like parents and people close to you, I wouldn't ever say they're actually negative. I'd just say they don't get it.
Yeah,
So like
absolutely.
if you're there like, oh, I'm gonna go make like 100K selling products online, which is more than possible. I know of so many people that have done it.
Yeah.
Everyone around me will go like, oh no, like that program, the program that I met Nico on, the Wealth Yogi program. That so it cost me a pretty penny to go, but almost everybody I spoke to thought it was a cult. They thought it was a scam. They thought I was losing all my money. They thought this, that, and the other. And I don't believe for a second any of them were doing it to be negative. I believe they were all doing it because they thought they were being positive. They thought they were trying to help. So it's not
So
that
yeah, go on.
like even with your mum and the casino, like I don't think she was saying it like hoping you'd lose money. I think she was saying it in case you lost money, if you get what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
but
kind
she
of,
didn't understand that by saying that I
yeah,
was losing the money. Like she doesn't understand the power of,
yeah,
like, observation and thought. But these like, wealthy yogi packages, right? It's a path, right? Anyone who knows this knowledge wants to teach people. You want to make money, so you put together a program and you hire people. Like anything in life, 99% of people will follow, and it'll be a great idea, and they'll do it, and then they'll stop. And then there's that one person who ends up taking it all the way. Unfortunately, to reach these people, you have to advertise to the mass. You don't know who's going to make it, who isn't. For example, all these types of things I've been through my whole life, okay? And each one has got me to the next stage.
yeah,
Whereas for people, for example, they will sort of they'll be living their normal lives about, they hate their boss, and you could have this wealth yogi lifestyle if you do this and then do this and make your own online business. Oh, that sounds great. That's just one thing that they've done. So then they go do this and they get inspired, they meet wealth yogi, positive people. And then what happens is that all that energy is not there anymore because they've all fucked off to their own life. And they're back to their negative lifestyle and they haven't got the idea. They've not got the ambition, the drive, the teacher, the constant mentorship, the you need to do this. And they don't know what the fuck to do because they're a follower, because they're working for somebody. Someone like us, for example, we've always worked for ourselves. We were selling Starbucks at school, and these are just another stepping stone to get there. So that's why 90% of the people in this class will just be, it'll just be like a memory of a day out, right? It would just be a 10 grand, 5 grand trip out. And yeah, it was part of your life and it was enjoyable. And then you might go to a Bruce Lipstein thing in a few years' time, and he might say, sign up for, it's now 2 grand today. It was 5 grand. If you sign up today, it's now 2 grand, right? That's just the way it works. It's business. How many products do people, because Tesco marketed it to them and that no one uses it? 90%. Think about how much stuff your mum, for example, buys from magazines that come through the door. Yeah, shit on TV, and you go back 6 months later and it's still there. Special vinegar or special shoe, it's still there. So not almost all the stuff, it's marketed to us. It wasn't our fault, which means we don't need it. So this is no different. Yes, it's called scammy because people don't get it, and there's a lot of shit out there. And there's so many stories, for example, the 97% of people who end up spending 10 grand and they say, oh, so you got your online store online yet? Had you spent 10 grand on this thing? Oh, no, it's not for me. Oh, never mind then. You always knew it wasn't going to work. But the people like us, we get it. It's the cycle. We'll be doing this ourselves. I will be doing this myself, and we'll be teaching our own shit. And 97% of people, they get inspired, they'll pay, make us rich, and they'll go back to their normal lives. That is just how it works. But you can't get those 3 people who change another 3 people, who change another 3 people, who then change the mass without putting it out there. It's like the reason why you plant loads of seeds is because almost all those seeds are going to die. But there's going to be one seed that ends up fermenting and growing. And then that creates acorns, which creates other trees, which creates a forest. So don't plant one little seed, plant loads of seeds, because one, if you're lucky, is going to sprout under the right conditions. And that's why it's not a cult and it's not scammy. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Oh, but honestly, that little analogy about the planting many seeds, that's a good one. I like that.
No, because I went to Tesco's yesterday or the day before. I got wild flowers, right? I got a bowl and I mixed 6 types of flowers into the bowl. I mixed them around and I grabbed it and I sprinkled it like when I pick my nose and I'm sprinkling it, right? I sprinkled it along the compost. I know, for example, that if I'm lucky, one's going to grow there, one's going to grow there, one's going to grow there. I can't pick up one little seed the size of a fucking a poppy seed, right, and hope it grows. And because I want lots of flowers, I'll put one here and one here and one here. No, because I'll have fucking one plant over there and none here. So I sprinkled loads. Think of a fuck where it lands. They say put soil on it, make sure it's 3 meters under the ground or whatever. It's gonna fucking grow, whether I put soil on it or not, right? It's life, it's nature. How often do you see some lawn with a fucking like sunflower growing out, or someone's nice grass with like a plant in the middle? That's because nature just, a bird shat in the air or the wind blew it there and it grew. Like, it's just gonna happen. Sprinkle that shit, one will grow. Don't expect all of them to grow. All these people on this Wealth Yogi course, the guy's made £1 million. Okay, you are probably gonna take it far. Nike's gonna take it far, but other people, they probably won't. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. I mean, there's like, I've been on other courses before, like I've been on like property investing ones and all these other ones, and like I do think the percentage of these lot that are gonna is a lot higher than usual, purely because of the intensity of it. Well, would have been, except the whole thing's online now and I'm at home. Which is a bit peak, but I'm going back there for the next one just so I can get like what I paid for. But
that's the thing, right? It's not about, like a teacher is not there to hold your hand and answer every fucking question. He's there to answer a few questions to give you the knowledge where to go next. People spend their life going back to these, like how to make money in stocks, how to make money drop shipping, how to become a wealth yogi master, how to become an author. It's just somebody who's made it, who's making money from helping people. And people will get helped. Some will make it, some won't. But people who keep going round and round, Ty Lopez, for example, it's just the way it is, right? People need to understand that these people are not there. They're there for that 3-week part in order to get you to the next stepping stone.
yeah.
People spend so much time on that stepping stone and they're there. They're stuck on that stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to get you to the next stage.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
might not be stocks, it might not be drop shipping, it might not be how to learn the guitar online. It's just a stepping stone, and the one stepping stone that you will end up on is the one that you've passion for, and you learn through all these schemes and systems and how they work, and then you make your own one in music rather than going stocks and shares, online dropshipping, Amazon,
Mm.
YouTube, because it's just the way to make money. But if it's not your ideal passion, you'll always revert back to it. It's like if you're secretly naturally gay, you can fuck all the women you want, you'll always go back to being gay. It's the same thing. Whatever you really have the passion for, me,
Yeah.
it was always talking. Okay, and this is what
Same.
I'm doing now. I
Yeah.
always tried to make loads of businesses because I wanted to make money, but my passion was talking and making money. So I've narrowed myself the true north. If yours is music, you need to be doing the music. It might not be the stocks and the shares and whatever the fuck you're learning how to do this shit online, but it's taught you the process. It's
Yeah.
aligned up the fact that this isn't what I want. This is what I want. So most people, they go for all these different packages and they're waiting for that next package because dropshipping isn't for me. Online isn't for me. YouTube isn't for me. Instagram isn't for me. It's just a way to get there. And the
Yeah.
only people
Yeah.
who make the money is the one who's selling the package. It becomes a point where you have to stop like asking the teacher, now what? Now what? Tell me what? He's like, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
to understand what, now what? I put you on this stepping stone. You need to take the lead yourself. And
Mm.
it's like me and my dad. I used to ask him every fucking question and he used to tell me. And then when I was 20 years old, because he'd always give me the answers, I was lost. I was spiritually lost. That's when I became awoken because I started to speak to my dead grandma's spirit, which is essentially my own voice. And always rely on source of information. You need to have the brain to work things out yourself. As hard as it is when you're trying to work out something you don't know, you're building your brain muscle.
Yeah. 100%. Because that's what. Oh, fucking hell. Sorry, earthquake. No, that's what. Because I was like that. I was like I went back to college and I loved it because I was just there and I was learning all this stuff and like I'd spent every day for like 3.5 years just learning, never doing anything with it. I just like learning. Like I do enjoy learning still, but now it's more of a case of like, all right, I know all this shit. I'm learning all this shit. Everything I'm learning, it's like I always say, knowledge without action is just fucking useless.
It's
Like,
just neurons firing up in your brain.
yeah, like the amount of stuff I know about music, like I know exactly how to make it as a musician. Yeah, I haven't because I it just well, mainly because I realized that path wasn't for me. But like I still like have the belief. Like a lot of the things I'm learning now, though, it's more of an overall thing. So now it doesn't matter what I find for my passion. I know how to make it into a business, which
Yeah,
is which is like knowing that is like knowledge is money well spent because now it doesn't matter, like you say, I could go through all these other packages and everything, I could do all this other stuff, like take up all these hobbies, do all these other things, but with this core knowledge I can now turn anything that I want into a viable business, whether I'm passionate about it or not.
exactly. So going through the process of what you had to do, the questions you had to answer, the how much you used to pay, the systems, you've learned the whole system.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
seen how this person has created this, and you can take any product, any ClickFunnel can do any product. And
yeah,
so you've understood the ClickFunnel process. So yeah, it was a 3 grand or whatever you spent process to understand the ClickFunnel, but and you could have gone online and YouTubed it and somebody could have taught you for free. That's irrelevant because now you've experienced the physical sides of it. You see the staffing issue. What happens when there's no food? What happens when like the teacher isn't there? The physical shit that only you can learn in that moment. It's like, how does a shop prepare for flooding or a terrorist walking in? You can't learn it online. It's this real situation. You have
yeah,
to be in that moment to know, okay, to barricade the door. Where does the staff go? Where does the customers go? It can only learn from real situations. I call that a jacket scenario. If you don't remember to bring a jacket and you rely on your friend or your parent to give you when you're out, you'll never remember to bring a jacket because you've never felt that coldness because your friend gave you his jacket. You need to freeze your bollocks off because your friend says no. So you know how
yeah,
fucking cold it felt in order to bring a jacket. You can only learn through experience, like business situation, like being in front of people speaking is different to knowing the knowledge and telling your parents. It's a
yeah.
different thing. Um, um, yeah. So yeah, that's yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, it's true. I used to learn so much knowledge that there was no action.
yeah,
I honestly, I knew everything. Every video I looked on, I'd already listened to it. I already knew it. Quantum physics, power of the mind. It's like I'm trying to find new stuff to learn, but I'm in my bed learning still, not doing anything. I need to fucking get out there.
yeah,
So then I started to do it. It's like you know that music industry is a business and it's a product. You need to
yeah,
know how the record label was seeing you, not I want to be a singer. You have
yeah.
to understand it from the other point of view, and now you know where to go. You know you can't just apply for X Factor and then hopefully you make it. You've got to see the back end doors and the mingling and the producers, and you see everything, and that's how you can make it if you want to.
It's
Kind
like
of like
it's like grime music, for example, right? So grime music is so fucking big in the UK right now. If you analyze like the top 10 grime artists, you can come up with a formula of how to be a top 10 grime artist. You can just create a character, this whole facade, like put on a fucking mask, talk about all this shit with the same kind of beats, and you could make it to the top 10 within a year, without a doubt, because it's all the same. And if you model it, it's just modeling success. If you just look at it, because I even thought about doing that, I was like, especially with a genre like grime, because it's so like it's such a simple genre. You could just make a formula, you could crack the code, you could just become a top grime artist and not actually give a shit about it. But it's the same with anything. Like you've just got to look at all the best people in an industry, just see how they're doing it and being like, right, I'm just going to do exactly that. Like never
that's the
copy
thing.
them.
If you specialize in one thing and you've got a name and a following and money, you can have branch out into
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
you want. You just need to pick one thing to get there,
yeah,
right? And that's the thing. I knew about Tyler. I signed up to Tyler Lopez's um social media thing ages ago. I got my money back because again, it was a way to make money. I didn't want to be on my laptop all day, going into restaurants and signing them up all day. I didn't
mm,
want to be doing that because I wanted to be happy. So again, I truly believe that if you really want something more than the other, the universe will have a way of sort of putting blockages in the way until you do that. If your passion is music, you'll take this ClickFunnels system and do music online.
yeah,
I want to talk and make money, and this is what I'm doing now. And I didn't do the Ty Lopez thing. So again, they're just ways to make money. If you specialize in anything, you'll get there, but you'll get there quicker if you have a passion for it because you'll happily do it for free. And
yeah,
when you're
yeah.
good at something, money will always come.
Well, it's not even necessarily like because so if the passion comes from making enough money to be able to change the world and to help people, then it genuinely doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you can make money from it. So, say, like, obviously, my passion is to get to a point where I'm financially free, comfortable, I can look after my family, I can give 50% of everything I earn to charity, and I can do all these things that help people,
Same.
invest in all these businesses that help people. It doesn't matter how I get there because as long as the money's coming in and I can fulfill that passion, I can do anything. But I get what you mean about how if I could do that, also do that through music, it would be like double the passion, more fun, more enjoyable along the journey. But if the passion comes from the end result, then it doesn't really matter how you do it. But I do agree with you on the fact that if I did it through music, it'd be a lot more fun.
What I find is that you look back at people who are philanthropists like Bill Gates, Amazon, whatever, fucking Microsoft man, right? They got their money through being fucking obsessed with one thing until it materialized.
Yeah.
And now they've got loads of money, they give it away. The new generation of people are literally becoming rich, not because they want all the boats and the yachts, because they steal from other people telling their stories that it is about happiness. They want their money to give back to
Mm.
humanity, to you know, homeless shelters and it just seems to be the opposite. It's almost like we've gone through this materialistic thing about making it. Now everything is made. China's making everything. The only thing we have got left, which we've lost, which we still want, is humanity and love. And I think that our generation, me for example, I want to make my money to get my house, to pay my parents off, have a car, my yacht, whatever. When I've got that, I can now go out, build
Mm.
mud huts in Africa, build wells, go to London, put every homeless guy up in a Premier Inn for a month. That is what is enjoyable for me. Go out into London with Domino's pizzas and give everyone a slice. Serving humanity. It's just pretending somebody's dropped £20. Sorry, dropped 20 quid. It's my 20 quid. I've given it to them. You know, to me, that is what I call living my life. And you need money for that. And of
But
course, I need enough money to pay for my £20 million mansion. So I'm not going to be too generous because otherwise I'll have nothing myself, you know? And I'm not going to expect you to give it to me because you won't. But you see the point. You need
yeah,
to make
yeah,
one or two and then give back. But people are doing it to serve rather than for this big lifestyle. It's literally flipped.
yeah. I put it to So remember when the world was supposed to end in 2012?
It was supposed to end in 2004. And then I think my dad said when he was younger, it was supposed to end. And then my grandfather told
Oh
him.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, anyway, it never ended. Yeah.
Um, I so with the Mayan calendar and everything, the whole end of 2012, like I think it was mistranslated, and I've seen this from someone else before that by the end of the world, it meant the end of the world as we know it. Because
Yes.
you know the whole thing about the world only does a full rotation every like 25,000 years because it's on a tilt. Do you know about that?
Oh.
Because it's on the Earth's on a tiny tilt, so it only actually does a full rotation. I think it's every 24,600 years,
Oh yeah, I can understand that.
which is so it's literally there's a name for it I can't remember, but it's essentially a new age. And 2012 was the time where it done the full rotation, so the age of darkness was over, and it was this new age that was ushered in. Since then, so many fucking people have woken up. So many people have like turned vegan, become more conscious. They've become more compassionate. Everyone's moving into like living from the heart rather than living from the brain. Like you say, everyone wants to give back. Everyone's on this sort of journey. So like, I reckon that's why, because the world was fucking like all the worst things that happen in the world now are natural disasters. They're not like there's nothing like the fucking like the Twin Towers, like World War I, like World War II, the Cold War. There's none of that shit anymore because we've wisened up to it. Like the only bad things happening now is just the Mother Nature being like, you guys have fucked me up. But so like
Yeah,
so
like it.
yeah, sorry, carry on.
No. You carry on because I thought you finished. Go on.
But so it's like this whole thing now is with everyone like waking up and giving back and just being genuinely nicer. Like I do right. There was a shift, and it is now all just happening. So now the only thing that needs to sort out is the world and like the actual planet, which is happening right now. So once all this fucking shit's over, the world will be healthy. The people will be somewhat healthier. Like then it'll be a good time. Up until
Now,
now, it's been a bit shit. Karen.
I don't see things as black and white. It's always a grey. So I don't believe or not believe in global warming. I can see equal sides for and against. But just imagine that there is global warming, and God's like, you're shitting on my planet. If you don't just get your shit together, I'm taking charge, and He gives everyone the flu. So He shuts everyone down. Companies can't go to work. Cars can't go on the road. Everything shuts. Humans have no fucking idea. And then the planet has like a few weeks to repair itself. The coral in the ocean starts to get better. The water starts to clear up, and the whales start to come through as it happened in a country, whatever. And so you'd realize, wow, all this amazing shit happened in a week of not factories doing their shit. um and then we take serious action, and we take it seriously because
Yeah,
we've seen the results. We've had that period of break where I don't think we would have ever seen if we just continue, because no company's going to stop and not stop making millions. So we'd never
yeah,
see that the ocean clears up within a week, because we're not doing our shit. So
yeah.
God's like, now do you believe me? Get your shit together. Well, I'll do this again. I'll give you chlamydia or HIV next time. That is not curable. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, it'd be interesting if there was a God and was global warming. You could see how He's doing this to get our shit together, because
Yeah.
actually, coincidentally, for the last 8 years, global warming's been a big thing, and we've not really taken it seriously. As you
Uh,
said, 2012. Call it whatever, call it God, call it coincidence, whatever. But you could link the patterns that God's angry right now that we're not
oh
looking
yeah.
after His planet.
And they're not like even it's like so when as a human when a virus enters our body destroys the virus. It destroys the bad bacteria, and in the process it also destroys some of the good bacteria. It doesn't differentiate. It's just like I'm just gonna fucking get all of this shit out to heal myself. As above, so below. If you think of the world like a giant human, well, nah, to give the world credit, it's better than a human. If you think of the world as a giant being, we are the fucking bad bacteria. Well, some of us are the bad bacteria. Like we're a virus on the planet, so the planet's like right, I'm going to just get rid of all of you until I'm okay. And just like the body won't get rid of everything. It'll just cut it all down until it feels good again. So the planet is literally just going to like start cutting humanity down. It's not going to differentiate between good or bad because like when it gets to that level, it's there isn't. So it just keep cutting down the human race until it's sustainable, until there's enough of us left. Like there will be a lot of us left, obviously, but it's just going to keep doing it until the world feels good. Once the world feels good, it'll be back to normal. And with any luck, most of the people it's going to cut down are going to be the ones that are killing it. But then again, like I say, it doesn't differentiate. That's why innocent people are dying all the time. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So let's just say that, for example, the factories in terms of how much energy is being used in Wu-Tang is affecting like the climate locally, right? So the bats are all together, the chickens are all together, but then there's loads of factories creating all this shit and smoke, right? The planet's like, I can't use this smoke, I need oxygen. But the only reason why they've got lack of oxygen is because the bats are together. So now the bats start coughing and make the flu to stop us. Let's just say there is a god, there isn't a god. You can see how every negative is counteracted by positive.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like loads of factories, loads of smoke. I'm dying of pollution. You're selling bats. Bats come together, they cough, and we stop the factory. No pollution. Everyone's healthy again. So you go back to that cycle. It's the same thing's going to happen. It's like sanity is doing the same thing twice, expects a different outcome. You could see literally how the universe has a way of balancing it itself up through human consciousness of what you choose to do, whether you think it's your own fault or whether it's God coming through you. You can see how everything counteracts. Every good creates the bad, and every bad creates the good. Like with the oceans, it's amazing. That fish story. Do you know what I'm on about?
Yeah.
I need to go because I have a podcast at 12:30, and I need to quickly make lunch. So quickly plug anything you want to plug right now. Any
Oh,
whatever.
okay, we've been on it for a while. Right,
Yeah.
everyone who's listening, my name's Joe Hilliker. I'm a motivational speaker, spiritual seeker, lifestyle teacher, and what I call a compassionate eater. You can find me on Facebook at Joe Hilliker, YouTube on Joe Hilliker. Yeah, there's no videos on there yet, or Instagram at Joe Hilliker Official. I'm sure this isn't the last time you'll see me on this podcast because I've had a decent time. If you'll have me back at any point, or maybe you'll see Oliver on one of my videos. Who knows? But yeah, thank you all for listening. I hope you all have an amazing day. Peace, love, and blessings to you all. And all remember to stay grateful.
Okay, I'm just going to press stop and I'm going to say goodbye. All right, wait there.